The popularity of content-based instruction in Europe. Imagine that I, a Canadian traveler originating in Fort McMurray, am planning a road trip. I would like to travel 5,000 kilometers. If I head east, this won't even bring me to the farthest reaches of our country. I'll make it as far as Nova Scotia. If I veer south, I will arrive just within the Mexican border. In traversing an entire continent, I will encounter only 2 official languages along either route. English and French if I go east, and English and Spanish if I go south. My interactions with locals along most of the journey should be relatively simple as a result of this. I'd be able to communicate in my first language for most of my trip. If I began my 5,000-kilometer journey in London, England, my journey would be quite a bit different. I could drive all the way to Iran. This would allow me to pass through 9 different countries, each with their own official language. By changing course slightly, I could travel to Niger, Scandinavia, Russia, Kazakhstan, and each route would expose me to vastly different languages along the way. Interacting with the locals would be far more difficult as I moved from place to place if I wasn't multilingual. This illustrates how a country's geographic location impacts its language education needs. In Canada, we can be very comfortable while traveling or very successful in the business world as single language speakers. In European countries, however, a wide variety of languages are spoken within a relatively small area. Traveling any great distance, or expanding a business, will automatically put a person in direct contact with people who speak other languages, making language learning a necessity. Although enterprising souls have seen the benefits of multilingualism since the days of the Roman Empire, when Roman parents would educate their children in Greek to give them access to increased social and professional opportunities, the political climate of the 20th century has accelerated the need for Europeans to speak multiple languages. In the aftermath of World War II, as countries established new borders, the European Economic Council determined which languages would be made official. In order to establish functional systems of government, develop national pride, and rebuild after the destruction of war, people needed to be able to communicate effectively with those around them. Therefore, language education needed to be emphasized. CLIL, Hood, and Marsh explained that by 1978, the European Educational Council encouraged schools to offer a variety of content courses in more than one language. In the years following this recommendation, the demographic makeup of Europe continued to shift, as the increasing impact of globalization brought immigrants to Europe from all over the globe. The need to develop effective language education continued to be a priority in order to give every citizen equal opportunity for success. As policymakers and educators worked to achieve the best possible results in the shortest amount of time, content and language integrated learning, or CLIL, became the preferred model for language education. It is, as defined by CLIL, Hood, and Marsh, a dual-focused educational approach in which an additional language is used for the learning and teaching of both content and language. CLIL solves the problem of insufficient time allocated to language learning by having students learn a language while simultaneously learning other subjects, providing more exposure to the language overall. It integrates content, communication, cognition, and culture into teaching and learning practices, and focuses on authentic learning to learn in a more naturalistic way. Rather than using a language textbook, for example, students learn the vocabulary and forms of language through their natural learning, conversations, and inquisitiveness surrounding a particular subject area. This approach gives students the time required not only to learn a language, but to apply it. The beauty of CLIL is that it is based on sound theoretical approaches of language and learning as well as on a neurological understanding of the modern learner. It appeals to the desire for immediacy inherent in our young learners' brains, operating under the idea, learn as you use as you learn. CLIL promotes equal access to all students, even those requiring additional supports, making it an ideal approach to implement in today's increasingly diverse classrooms. Coyle, Hood, and Marsh use a quote from Giddens to emphasize the direction modern education is taking it. It is, "Globalization is not incidental to our lives today. It is a shift in our very life circumstances." As globalization continues to run its course, it is not only Europe that will see the need of multilingualism. As immigration increases, trade expands, and travel opportunities become available, I am sure that Canadians will eventually see the benefit, the necessity, of speaking more than one language. The shift described by Giddens can already be felt in our daily lives, and it is up to us whether we embrace this change or fall behind. Thank you.